Hello, Arshad Mikhail. Welcome to the K-League United podcast. It's Team K-League week, Matthew. Are we excited?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Are you sure? I'm not sure I am.
Yeah, it's well, it's not as exciting as it was perhaps a few years ago. I wouldn't blame that at the doors of any of the opposition or anything. I think it's just it's become part of the routine now.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, Team K-League, an all-star team, if you will, of players from the K-League, are going to face Tottenham Hotspur again, like they did in 2022. Obviously, this Coupang Play Series is obviously going to be a regular thing now. It seems every year. The other game, because it is a series, as I just said, is Spurs against Bayern Munich. Would have preferred to see Bayern Munich play over Spurs just because it's somebody different. I mean, there's no Harry Kane in this Asian tour squad for Bayern, and a few other players, obviously, who were involved in the Euros and stuff, and the Copa America, I think, too. But just, I mean, in general, what are your thoughts on it being Spurs again?
I think there's a lot of people who like to watch Son Heung-min. That sounds very, I don't know, perhaps cynical of me, but also it is true. You know, a lot of people follow Son Heung-min from afar, and just swathes of support here. I know they can always follow him with a national team game, but there is something to seeing him in his Spurs shirt that can only be really afforded to any Korean fan who has to travel all the way to London. So there is that benefit to it. You know, I think we have to factor that in, the Son factor in when we look at this fixture. And, you know, Spurs, they do provide a decent challenge. They're a very good Premier League club, and they're hoping to be pushing for more next season after an encouraging first season under Ange Postecoglou. I think as well, Postecoglou himself, the Spurs pre-season tour, it's gone via Tokyo on the way here. So Postecoglou's got to go back to his old stomping ground as well. So I think there's that element of it that fits in nicely, plays in nicely. I think, obviously, even though it's Team K-League, I think the opposition will be well respected by somebody like Postecoglou. I think there's just that it was only 2 years ago kind of feel to it, where it's like, oh, it would have been nice if there had been a bit more of a gap since the last time Tottenham were here. But again, like I said, there's a lot of people who want to see Son Heung-min beyond just in the Korean national team shirts, because he is a big deal here in Korea, and there's no, we can't deny that at all. So.
No, and to be fair, having looked back at the squad, the Tottenham squad that came here 2 years ago, there are only 6 players involved, 4 that started, and then 2 more who came off the bench, including Son, of course, who came off the bench very early into the second half. But yeah, for me, I'm just a little bit like, oh, they've run out of ideas and they've just sort of run out of contacts, maybe, to sort of book somebody else. Maybe Bayern weren't a big enough draw.
I think
I don't know.
Well, I think it also has to come into off-season schedules as well. You know, Bayern Munich might not have been able to do a midweek in Korea. In that case, they have to factor in. It could also be a fact that, you know, those teams perhaps don't see a benefit to playing a team like Team K-League, and so they see these. I mean, the Coupang series. Let's be honest. Although we focus on it from a K-League angle, the whole point of it is the Bayern Munich Spurs friendly. That's what everybody is wanting to attend. It's on a Saturday. If it was, you know, if Team K-League was really the draw, it'd be the Saturday fixture. People are wanting to see Bayern Munich versus Tottenham Hotspur, and to be honest, I can't blame them. As much as I want to champion the K-League, All Stars to champion K-League as a league. You know, we have to be realistic. Yeah, it's just a shame it couldn't be Bayern Munich that could verse Team K-League. But again, I think that might also come down to scheduling, because I'm sure Bayern Munich would have a lot to gain as well, you know, having Kim Min-jae play against the Team K-League. But that's how it is, and I still think it sounds like we're showing no respect to Tottenham, which isn't the case at all. Because I mean, having Tottenham here is still a very, very massive draw. We're lucky that we're in the sense that we can go, oh, it's Tottenham again. It's not. We shouldn't really be sniffing at that.
No. Well, what do you think about just this Team K-League in general, like the concept of it? Because obviously it's something that has happened before our time here. But the way that they're doing it or have been doing it since 2019, that first one since we've been involved in K-League. It's now the fourth iteration of Team K-League. What do you think about the whole concept and the way that the team is picked?
For the concept, I mean, the concept can also, echo the All Stars as well from previous years gone by. I think with any All Star team, it's really difficult to judge because you could just have a club, and I think perhaps that would normally be the preference. You have a club versus these Premier League teams, but then there's the element of unfairness. I don't know whether you could say it's unfair because it's up to any club to arrange their friendlies, but Seoul is the venue, and you think that FC Seoul would then probably try and garner these kind of things, and there is a bit of more of a jovial atmosphere, I think, when it's Team K-League. I think people enjoy voting for their players. They enjoy the festivities that come around with it, the promotions. It's not quite Team K-League, but K-League themselves have got lots of promotions going on at the moment, like pop-up stores over at Lotto World Tower, and lots of things going on with trading cards, goods and stuff. So I think there is a nice element to it with Team K-League. It is supposed to be an evening that isn't taken seriously as well. I think, we can get into who's going to be the one to nullify the Son Heung-min threat, but the fact of the matter is it's a friendly, and this is the friendliest of friendlies because it is just an all-star game where everybody's having a bit of a laugh together. So I think if you treat it like that, I think you get more out of it. And in terms of the voting concept, I think it's reasonably fair because it's forgive me if they've changed it, but as far as I'm aware, it's they are voting on half the team, and then the rest of it is made up from members of the other team distributed evenly. So there is somebody representing each team in the top flight in the K-League. I don't mind that. It's spread out. Everybody can find a local team player that they may be getting behind. And that's what you hope. You hope that the people are going are K-League fans because then they get to have the bonus of watching their player play against, a European club.
Yeah, I was just a little bit embarrassed with the sort of the way that it was seen as a all-star team in 2022, when I think in that year in particular, the way that the team was picked was a little bit too diplomatic because they shoehorned two players from every team, every K-League One team into the squad. And if you remember, Cezinha pulled out, which meant they had to replace him with a Daegu player, and they replaced him with Kim Jin-hyuk, who's obviously a defender. It's not really the same. And then they obviously wanted to try and get Kim Ji-soo in the squad from Songnam, the young defender now at Brentford, of course. And then they put in Songnam's goalkeeper. No, don't forget, Songnam went down that season and conceded a lot of goals. So nothing against Kim Yong-kwang, but it was just a little bit too fair, if that makes any sense whatsoever. This year, the voting has been done, obviously, fans have picked, but then the team, the rest of the sort of 10 spots that they've filled, the coaching staff have picked, it makes it look like quite a strong squad. Now, what they've done this year as well, which they didn't do last year, I don't think, or even the year before, was they had a vote for young player. And Yang Min-hyuk will obviously end up playing against the team that he's going to join.
Is he going to switch at half time? Yeah.
Maybe he will. Maybe he will. Yeah.
That's the unveiling ceremony. That's the real reason I'm saying Tottenham. This is all one big unveiling ceremony for Yang Min-hyuk's transfer.
Yeah, I like the sort of Team K-League concept, and I really enjoyed the one that I enjoyed the most was 2019 against Juventus, because it felt like because of that Ronaldo no-show and the sort of hour delay and the performance that they put on Team K-League, it felt like it was like a bit of a siege mentality. We're all coming together. Even us, like, you know, because there was 4 of us there for Team K-League United. There was me, you, obviously Scott and Ryan, and we sort of divided and conquered in the mix zone, didn't we? We all got a mix zone interview with somebody, and it just felt like a real team effort. The collective hasn't really been the case since they've changed the organisers, and it's just, I don't know. Well, I suppose we'll see.
Yeah, well, I think they had to change the organisers after the Juventus one for good reason.
True. If you know, makes you wonder though if Ronaldo did actually play in that game, whether that company would still exist. Yeah,
a sliding doors moment. Yeah.
Well, so what are your thoughts on the Team K-League squad in general? I think it's quite good. It's quite strong. There are a few players maybe that okay, he's kind of been shoehorned in a bit, but mostly I think it's quite strong.
I think it's very telling that there is only one John Book player.
Well, 2 now.
Two now. Of course, 2 now. Well, John Book's had to buy a player, obviously. Park Jin-suk was the original John Book player that Lee Sung-woo has moved in between the announcement and this recording. So, yeah, there is 2 now. But very damning in that sense that how bad John Book are doing this season, that they can only squeeze in a defender into the squad. But it is very strong, I think. Lots of players, lots of international players, lots of fan favourites. I mean, it's a shame that Lingard is injured, because I think Lingard was obviously perhaps one of the major selling points from the Team K-League side of things. I think they probably wanted that. Lingard and Tottenham. You can see the posters already being thought out. But yeah, you know, there's a good talent there. I'm quite Lee Dong-kyung is in it. Another Ulsan player, obviously, but he's representing Gimcheon. So there is a lot of Ulsan players on this squad, I think. That,
yeah.
But no, great squad. Yeah,
no, it's good. Yeah, I think there's some attacking players that will cause a bit of damage. I think you know, big powerful players like Ilyichenko and Ju Min-kyu, and then some good young players as well. There's obviously one we've already mentioned, Yang Min-hyuk. It's funny that Yang Hyun-jun kind of broke out in that 2022 season, did very well against Tottenham, turned Emerson Royale inside out and sent him for a cup of tteokbokki a few times with his skills. It's kind of funny that the transfer for Yang Min-hyuk has already been decided before that, because it might have been, well, let's see how he plays against us, but obviously not. But yeah, I think the squad's pretty good. I mean, anybody in particular that you're looking forward to sort of seeing have a good go against Tottenham?
I think I've kind of just mentioned it, but Lee Dong-kyung, I really think he was on fire just before he went to Gimcheon Sangwoo. He's still not doing that bad now, but you know, there is a lot of attention on Yang Min-hyuk, and I am excited to see him as well. But I think it's obvious to say I'm excited to see him because he is such a great talent, and the narrative of him now looking like he's going to Tottenham, it's all too easy. But I think Lee Dong-kyung, I think his talent, obviously, he tried to go to Europe and he had to come back. It didn't really work out for him, but he is a sensational talent, and I think it'd be just good for him to show his worth. I think he could cause a couple of surprises. So yeah, really, I want to see how he does. I always want to see how Ju Min-kyu does when he's not playing against John Book. I always, you know, just that constant proof that he is a good striker and he should be picked more for things. So it'd be quite good to see him get a goal as well. But I think those are the 2 for me. How about yourself?
Well, yeah, I think Ju Min-kyu plays. I don't think Tottenham would be expecting to play against a Korean player like him. They probably expect Korean players to be a bit like Lee Sung-woo and Lee Dong-kyung in that mold, quick and skillful. But a powerful striker might be something good to sort of watch against Tottenham's centre backs. For me, I'm going to be a bit obvious and a bit boring, but Yoon Do-young He's the only Daejeon player in the squad, and deservedly so because of how poor they've been this season. But he is still only 17, and he's had to be patient this season because he was brought through to the first team, still only being a high schooler, mind you, but brought in and trains with the first team. Didn't play at all for the first half of the year, which I thought was quite surprising because of the hype that's been surrounding him for a couple of years now, even going back to when he was 15, 14. But he's now broken into the squad, and it's I think if Yang Min-hyuk hadn't have done as well as he has done this season, there'd be more talk about him going to Europe. He looks like such a talented player. I'm not sure. Well, obviously you did see because you were both on commentary for this game. But,
I tried to forget.
But the way that he won the penalty for Daejeon to make it 2-1, where he just sort of suddenly had that burst of pace with the ball and kind of danced through very skillfully past 3 or 4 players, to the point where even the slightest touch brought him down. That's the kind of player that he is. He's kind of a messy type. He operates in those kind of areas of the pitch, in that sort of D area, in and around the 18-yard box. And he might feel like he's got a bit of a point to prove. I think there are going to be scouts at this game from Europe and from MLS, I've read. So he might feel like he has a bit of a point to prove with all the spotlight on Yang Min-hyuk. So he'll be someone that I'm looking forward to seeing. Other than that, Ilyichenko, I think obviously I'm obviously a big fan of him, even though he gives one-word answers in press conferences. But it was a bit of a closed question for me, but I think he'll be good.